Hey everybody, my name is LaPrecious and welcome to my channel. Let's talk with LaPrecious, and today I will be doing a Chinese food mukbang from the restaurant East China. And while I'm eating my Chinese food for this mukbang, I'll be talking about cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation. So I know a lot of people have talked about this numerous amounts of times throughout the years, but I think it's really good to really understand what exactly is cultural appropriation. Hey, beautiful magic. What cultural appropriation is. Here's my egg roll, y'all. I decided to get a pork egg roll because that was the cheapest thing on Uber Eats, and I don't want to pay like an extra $3 for my order, so it wouldn't be a $30 order. So yeah, here is my pork egg roll in the wrapper. Hey, forecast. And we're taking it out, and this is how it looks. So crispy and delicious. And this one looks a lot neater and bigger because a lot of times at the Chinese places, them egg rolls be fat. They be like real fat and chunky. And sometimes they be a little overcooked. I decided to go to East China. Now, East China is not even in Winston-Salem. It's actually like riding past Path Town, almost going into, I know I said it wrong, it's Foff Town, or however you say it. Pfaff Town, all the way over there by, I think, Kernersville or whatnot. Because Winston-Salem, I'm just not able to find any good Chinese places because if they're not good, they're either too greasy, the food is overcooked, it smells, and I just don't like it. So, now this tastes pretty good. The inside is a little oily, but the vegetables and the peppers have, well, not peppers, but the vegetables and the pepper that they put in here, along with the pork, has a good taste. It is a little sour, but the pastry dough that they made the egg roll in tastes pretty good. So this is a good egg roll. Hmm. Now, so what cultural appropriation is pretty much when someone of another race decides to wear another ethnicity as a costume. Like you guys have pretty much seen how over the years a lot of companies have made Mexican costumes with like the mariachi outfits and the sombreros with the fake mustache, or they've done the sombreros with the fake mustache and the ponchos. Then they've had, the Pocahontas Native American costumes and things of that sort. And I've never really seen them do a blackface one, but I'm sure somebody somewhere probably did one and it just didn't come out. And here is my sesame chicken, y'all, with my vegetables and fried rice. I decided to get vegetable fried rice because whenever I eat Chinese food, the chicken and the rice and the egg roll is good enough for me. But adding all that pork and or chicken or shrimp and stuff, it adds on. And y'all know if y'all don't get Chinese food off the lunch special, it is really expensive. So I don't want to do that. So here you go with the sesame chicken and the vegetables and the rice. And I love how they decorated it. Well, not decorated it, but like coordinated the chicken and the vegetables and rice on the side. And then I got my chopsticks. I was gonna tell them to put them in the bag, but I'm glad I didn't have to, and they did it for me. So, yeah, that's pretty much what cultural appropriation is. And we all know, besides costumes, the Kardashians have been like the queens of cultural appropriation. But we've seen cultural appropriation done, especially with Black culture, by other people. The Japanese culture has portrayed blackface to some extent. And now this chicken's pretty good. The sesame sauce is sweet, and the sesame seeds give it a good taste, so it's good. Oh, the restaurant I ordered it from is called East China. I live in Winston-Salem, but it's not in Winston. It's all the way past Town and Kernersville, so it's in that area. Based on what the map said. So let me get my soy sauce and pour it in here. So yeah, um, when I get a better camera, y'all, that's when y'all will be able to see my food and stuff a lot better. Cause I would love to do mukbangs like other YouTubers do that have like a better quality camera and they're able to actually sit at a table where you can see them and the food clear as day when they do their mukbangs. So sorry, y'all. I have to get me a camera in the near future with a ring light. Hmm. Okay, yeah. So I got the food from East China. So yeah, so when it comes to cultural appropriation, the Kardashians have not been the only ones to do it. We've seen cultural appropriation in the Japanese culture with some of their fashion senses, where they'll tan their skin to look dark and they'll wear like cornrows, dreads, and braids, and they'll wear urban attire that a lot of the hip hopsters or people from the hip hop world will wear. And and even Korean culture to an extent does culture appropriate black culture too, because even with the K-pop groups, if you listen to a lot of their songs, they're like remixed R&B songs. Okay, I'm gonna stretch my legs out because I'm getting kind of cramped. Okay, so yeah, but and that's what they do, and a lot of people haven't really called it out because a lot of people love K-pop groups, especially Americans. And a lot of people just see it as, cute and they just see it as, oh, well, it's nothing. And, it's cool. We like hearing them sing in Korean with their unison uniforms and the makeup and the hair and stuff like that. But when it comes to the Kardashians, it's like, oh, they're man stealers and they want to be black, yada, yada, yada. But I feel like if cultural appropriation is exactly what it is, and we see more people calling it out, then why don't we just call a thing and get everybody who's doing it? Because what people don't understand is that when you let one group get away with cultural appropriation, then that gives way and freedom to other groups to do the same thing. Because cultural appropriation is pretty much mocking another culture. Now, moving along to cultural appreciation, I think cultural appropriation is when you pay homage to another culture. So many people have done it that it's a shame that people even today will call cultural appreciation cultural appropriation, because when you look at Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson, for instance, they did a lot of cultural appreciation in their music videos. Like Michael Jackson would mimic the Egyptian culture in the Remember the Time video. Now I'm more familiar with the themes in Janet Jackson's stuff than Michael's. But with Janet Jackson, she's paid homage to the Japanese culture, the Indian culture, the Malaysian culture, and things of that sort. And even with Kim from the Parkers, I remember like the early 2000s, just like Gwen Stefani, they would wear the bendies. And the bendies are a pretty much like a jeweled sticker that you put in the middle of your forehead. Hindu women wear it if it's a bejeweled kind for like Hindu parties and ceremonies and things of that sort, or they may wear it as a fashion statement too. But over here in the United States, like in the late 90s and early 2000s, with Gwen Stefani and Kim from the Parkers, they would both wear bendies. So yeah. And even when you look at Nicki Minaj, she paid homage to the Japanese culture. Um, these are like the only ones that I can really think of that have paid homage to other cultures like that. Then Gwen Stefani with the Harajuku girls, she paid homage to the Japanese culture as well because the Harajuku fashion sense or style is a real thing in Japan. So we've had a lot of people pay homage to different cultures that are from different cultures that didn't make it offensive. They always gave props where they were due, and that was fine. But it's like even now, a person can't even appreciate another culture without being called a cultural appropriator. And even I myself have paid homage to different cultures with my clothes. I used to wear bendies a long time ago, back when I was Christian. I wore them as a fashion sense, but I'm like, well, this is something that Hindus do, so maybe I shouldn't wear it anymore. And I've worn like kimonos, cheongsams, and even salwar kameezes, which is from the Indian culture, but I never really wore them as a costume. I wore it because it was something that I liked, and I like Asian culture. So that was how I feel about it. But a lot of people nowadays, they still feel like even if you pay homage to another culture, it's still cultural appropriating because you're not from that culture, so you shouldn't be wearing the attire from that culture. I personally think that notion is stupid. And the reason why I think so is because it's not fair, especially how you want to keep someone in their own racial box. Because especially when it's done to black people, and I feel like black people have been hard pressed in our boxes for a very long time. For example, if you're black, nobody expects you to speak Spanish or any other foreign language. If you're black, nobody expects you to know more than a high school education. If you're black, nobody expects you to live in a gated community or drive in a Maserati or a Lamborghini or any other luxury car. Oh, and if you're black, nobody expects you to have a passport or to have traveled overseas to even know the names of states, whoops, countries, capitals of countries, or even know who the prime minister of India is. And and a lot of black people will co-sign a lot of this stuff when people of other races expect us to not know as much as we do, but we really need to stop because the reason why I say that is because black people have adopted this go along to get along mentality so bad that that's why we don't even own our own culture anymore. Because when you think about it, try going into Chinatown, for instance. Oh, thank you. I know it looks good. It tastes good too. Try going to Chinatown, for instance, and going on a racial tirade about Chinese people as a black person and tell me how long would you last in that area without getting beaten up, thrown in jail, or somehow harassed or, brutally murdered or massacred for what you said. Or imagine going to Little Havana and going on a racial tirade about Hispanic people. Or imagine going to a place like Koreatown or what's the name of that Arab community? Tarantulas that has the Persian community and going on a tirade about Arab or Persian people and see how long you last. But let's turn the tables. When you see someone of another race that is not black make racial jokes about black people, say that black people are lazy, call us niggers and monkeys, sluts, whores, gangsters, and thugs, most of the time people will agree. But when it comes to black people reacting to it, we either get 30% of black people mad, 50% of black people agreeing with it and not saying anything about it. And then you have the superfluous or the clueless black people that make up the latter 20% saying, oh, they didn't mean nothing by it. Oh, they're just joking around. It's not that serious, but it is that serious because why is it that everybody gets to pick on black people, but black people can't pick on anybody else? And that's what the whole problem is with cultural appropriation is that black people, we have allowed ourselves to be bullied and picked on. And I'm not, and it's not even just that, but I feel that due to slavery and something just happened with black people from like the late 2000s up until now with this whole Black Lives Matter movement. It's like we just became so disinterested in our culture because within that 10, not even 10, but within that 6 year time frame, it's like most black people wanted to be rich, wanted to be successful, Instagram models, YouTubers, and things of that sort. And you didn't really see a whole lot of Black Power t shirts selling out or Black Lives Matter. Excuse me. I know y'all like that because I usually like people burping and belching these mukbangs. So there you go. Um, Black Lives Matter shirts selling out, or Black Lives Matter to black people, or there being laws and legislations made for us to be respected. Now, in the meantime, around that time, you had immigrants that made sure they were protected under the law, and you had the LGBT people thinking the same thing. So it's like, why didn't black people move in formation to get that done as well? Because I feel like if we would have nipped that in the bud back then, we wouldn't be dealing with the stuff we're dealing with now. And even going along from that, it just appears that black people have even allowed cultural appropriation to get this bad. And the reason why I say it is because now I do remember that back in the day, with white people, now this was before blacks and Hispanics and Asians and stuff started mixing, because we used to then mix like that the way we do now. But it's like back in the day when white people said nigga, or white people had so much soul or so much passion when they would be rapping or singing gospel music and preaching and listening to hip hop music, wearing cornrows and braids and dreads and stuff. Oh, we thought that was cool. Oh, we thought that was sexy. Oh, we thought, oh, they got us. They one of us. They ain't really white. See, we thought that stuff was cool, and that's where it started at. And then after them, you had the Asian people doing it. Because I know a lot of us have seen, like, the Korean girls. I've seen them do it the most besides Japanese women. Not so much of Vietnamese girls. Well, I mean, with Lovely Mimi as an exception. But I've never really seen, like, a lot of Chinese girls trying to be black like that. Or Indian or Laotian or any of them trying to be black or anything like that. But, after them, it was like, the Vietnamese girls and the Korean girls that, wanted to be black. And, we thought it was exotic that, this Asian girl had this tan skin with the cornrows and the little lips and be listening to hip hop music and stuff. And I feel like due to beatboxing and hip hop and R&B music being so popular in Japan and Korea, I felt like they kind of boosted them in that as well. But black people started thinking that was cool too. And then here's my ever favorite one when it comes to Hispanics. Because with Hispanics, a lot of people want to give them a pass for acting black and talking black by saying, oh, they're black. Dominicans are black, Puerto Ricans are black. Puerto Ricans are like the black Spanish people. Mexicans are black. Everybody's black. No, they're not. And the thing that I hate is how, especially on this platform, when I talk about how Hispanics are not black like us, so many people get mad at me. And so many people don't want to listen to me. And I've even lost like friends over this, but I don't care. Because, in my opinion, Hispanic people are not black. Even though you do have black Hispanics, they're not black to me. If you are a black Hispanic, you are not the same as an African American. You're not. And the reason why I say this is because the African American culture is different. The African Caribbean culture is different. And the African culture is different. And the Afro Latin culture is different. And the reason why I say this is because African Caribbeans, well, not African Caribbeans, Afro Caribbeans come from curry chicken, goat chicken, jerk chicken, rice and peas, plantains, patois, reggae, calypso music, bacchanal, carnival, and things like that. Black people, we come from collard greens, fried chicken, hip hop music, hoodoo, um, what's some other stuff that we come from? I'm trying to think. There's collard greens, fried chicken, hip hop, hoodoo, the black church, the Black American church, especially the Pentecostal, the Pentecostal church. Yeah, peach cobbler, pecan pie. Even though white people try to claim that, that's still our pie. Other than sweet potato pie, Juneteenth, you know, Master P. I got the hook up with the beepers on the side. That we come from that. That's African American culture. African culture is jollof rice. It is suya chicken, plantains, juju. You have let's see. I'm not really all that familiar with African music, but their music is different than ours. And they're Ghanaian, they're Nigerian, they are from the country of Benin. They're from the Republic of the Congo, South African, Madagascaran. They are from Togo or from what's some other African countries? Angolan, from Angola. That's their culture. And even within those countries, the Angolans have a different culture than the Nigerians. And the Nigerian culture is different than the Ghanaians. And then even within the Nigerian culture, you have the Yoruba and the Igbo and the other tribal cultures within that country. So it's all different. That's the African culture. All those things that I just mentioned, they fall under the African umbrella. Now, when it comes to Afro Latin people, oh yeah, then you even have Afro European people. Now, Afro European people, they're like African Americans, but they're more closer to home than we are. Because since black people have assimilated to American culture for so long, we don't really have that much in touchness with our African roots. But most black people from Europe, especially if they live in France or even England or Spain or Portugal, 9 times out of 10, either their parents or their grandparents are going to be from Africa or the Caribbean. And that's usually what it is sometimes. And so they have the African culture that they live with at home. And then outside of the home, they have the French culture or the British culture or the German culture and things like that. Now we about to get down to the Afro Latinas or the Afro Latinos. Now, with Afro Latinos, they come from arroz con pollo, rice with chicken, mofongo, which is a mashed plantain dish, tostones, plantains, maduros, plantains. Then you have pollo a criollo, which is Creole style chicken, arepas. Then you have, let's see, what's some other Latin foods? Tacos, chicken with mole, nopales. Let's see, what's some other stuff? Croquetas, which are like the little pastry, the little pastry things that you eat with either cheese or like guava paste in it, and then they have, gosh, I done ate so much Latin food, I should know. Then you have, I'm forgetting them, but y'all know what I mean. That's where they come from and they speak Spanish. Now, when it comes to the Afro Latin culture, and I wish people would stop trying to lump all Hispanics under the Afro Latin culture because all of them are not Afro or of Black descent. Hispanics are a very varied culture where they could either be purely Spanish or they could be mestizo, which is usually Spanish and Native American, or they could be and see, they have a word for this in Spanish, and it's called trigueño or trigueña, and that's pretty much a mixed person. Now, mestizo is European and Native American, but trigueño or trigueña is somebody who's mixed with that, and some, and a little bit of something else. So the trigueños or the trigueñas will pretty much be Spanish, Native American, African, in some cases Japanese, because in the Peruvian culture they do have Japanese people. Because at one point in time they had a president that was Japanese. Or they could be mixed with Spanish, Native, Arab, Italian, and all that. Then you have the Afro Latinos who are pretty much blacks, and the reason why they are black is because the slave ship came to Latin America like it did here. And Afro Latinos will pretty much be people that were born in a place like Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, or Mexico, and they were of African descent. That's what an Afro Latina or Afro Latino is. And I don't know why people always want to complicate that so much. And then I feel like due to blacks having this obsession with light skin and mixed people so bad, where everybody who got a little bit of hood in them or a little bit of black in them and stuff like that, we want to call them black, and that's what we do with the Hispanic people. But in all honesty, all of them and a lot of them are not black like us. Because, for example, a lot of people want to say that Cardi B is black, but when you look at Cardi B and both of her parents, she's not black. She's, of course, a trigueña, which is someone who's mixed. You could tell by looking at her features and her hair and her skin, she got Spanish, Native, and black in her. But since she's more than just black, that doesn't make her black. You know, point blank, period. And I don't see why people just can't seem to get that in their head. Um, Moving along from that, I believe that's why a lot of black people, they let Hispanics get away with so much when it comes to them coming into our culture, talking to us any kind of way, screwing us over, holding us back in jobs, not letting us, be whatever we want to be and never sending during their spaces, because we like to give them a pass because, that's their culture. They're fighting for their people. And you can't come in their territory telling them what to do and say because that's their space. But what about them coming up in our spaces trying to tell us what to do and say? And then not letting us have the same opportunities that their other Hispanic counterparts have. And I just don't see why a lot of black people can't see it as clear as day like that. They're not black like us. They have a set culture and a set language. And need I remind a lot of y'all, our country is starting to assimilate to their culture. by making it so there are interpreters, and I'm not speaking against interpreters because I'm one myself, but just look at it. They're providing services to help them in their community. They're providing legal entities for them to come into the country a lot easier and most of the time illegally. And then they try to legitimize the illegal part about it by saying, oh, they need to keep the family unit together, they have kids, blah, blah, blah. And then they're even giving them insurance and, a little bit of money here and there. And African Americans, we have to work for insurance. We have to pay taxes. And we have to work for a lot of stuff that, for the most part, in the Hispanic community, to an extent, they don't have work for. So I'm not trying to create a black people need to hate Hispanic people conversation or rant or whatever you want to say about this, but I'm just saying that as black people, we have got to stop handing ourselves over to people that are not doing the same thing for us. And that's what a lot of us keep doing because I believe that after white people, it's going to be the Hispanic people that are going to be in the high positions. And it's already getting like that. They're in high places and high spaces. And not only that, they know that African culture has played a part in their culture. And they know that a lot of them are mixed with black, but they don't even acknowledge their blackness. They don't. They don't even promote their blackness as much as they promote their Latinidad. Because when Hispanic people get on TV or radio or whatever, they'll promote them speaking Spanish, them dancing to salsa music or reggaeton or ranchera music or corridos and other types of Latin music, or about how their people need more resources, they need more education and things that they'll push their Latinidad. But when it comes to fighting for black people and black rights, even with the Afro Latinos, you don't even see them sitting at the conference tables with us or even voicing their opinions about how we need to be treated better. And I don't think that a lot of y'all see that because Afro Latinos, they even know that yes, they may be of African descent, but they're still privileged because of that Latinness that comes after the black part, the Afro part. They know that by them speaking Spanish, people automatically assume black people can't speak Spanish. And if you do, you must be mixed or Dominican or whatever. And they know, okay, boom, I may look black, but I speak Spanish. And yes, I'm Dominican. And whenever somebody look black, but they don't talk black, they'll be like, oh, you're not one of us, you're somebody else. And they know they can get away with that. But they also know because they have learned us and how we move. Since we like to put our business stuff out there so much in front of other races, they know that we accept people that look black and talk black and act black, but are not actually black. So they know, I can go out here and rep my Hispanic people, but when it's convenient for me, I can dance over here with the black people and stay cool with them. But as soon as y'all come against my Latino people or my Latin people, I'm on y'all's tail about it. And see, and black people don't really pay attention to that. They don't. They don't pay attention to that. And that's what kind of conversations we need to have in the black community. And I just don't understand why black people want to protect Hispanics so bad. And I see a lot of that going on too, that for whatever reason, when it comes to Hispanics, can't nobody touch them, can't nobody speak on them, can't nobody say nothing, even if they're disrespecting and degrading us. And I've seen black people about fight to the death defending them. I'm like, what? I don't get it. I don't, because I'm like, no matter how hard you fight for them, no matter how hard you root for them and whatnot, you still not going to be Hispanic. And you still not going to be privileged by them or get what they get unless you're married to them or unless you're friends with them. And I know this video might get some dislikes or whatever, but it's the truth. Because when it comes to the Hispanic community, and a lot of black people don't look at that too, they don't accept all of us. A lot of times, they'll like you if you ghetto, and don't know nothing, and you add and all that kind of stuff with the music and the nails, like a Cardi B, but an actual black person like Cardi B. They like it when you like that, right? Yeah, they like you when you like that because they know that since you don't know their culture and know their language, they can hold that over your head. And then if you're not that type of person, then they want to cool with you if you make a whole bunch of money, got a nice car and clothes. Because the thing about Hispanic people and the reason why they're so judgmental, they are very look oriented. If you are physically attractive, if you got a lot of money and your clothes and house and children and family represent that, oh, they'll be into you. And then if it's not that, if they notice you the kind of black person that they can turn into a Hispanic person, oh, you can come over here and do that. They'll teach you about their ways and their culture to an extent, and then they'll have you hating black people like they do to us. And then you'll be saying, "Oh, well, how come you speak Spanish? Oh, girl, I'm black. I picked up a book and learned it just like you did." And see, and black people don't understand how they do that mess either. And and I feel like that's what black people need to understand. It's like y'all are handing our culture to other people. And then y'all want to be the same ones complaining about people disrespecting us and not taking us seriously and not buying from us and stuff. Well, you do it to your own people, so why you expect other people to stop doing it to us? And then even with the college and the lip kids, that's another thing I'm gonna talk about. I feel like if you are a black person and you say that you don't like the Kardashians or you don't like what they do, stop buying their lip kits. Stop buying their makeup. Stop buying their waist trainers, watching their shows and stuff. Because it is amazing to me how so many of these racist beauty influencers or reality TV stars have some of the biggest supports from the people they don't even like. I'm like, what is that? Because and need I remind you with Ulta Beauty. Now I used to shop at Ulta Beauty because I was tempted to get a Morphe palette. I still might get it. I like Morphe because they got good stuff and it's cheap. But if y'all haven't noticed, Ulta Beauty does carry a lot of makeup that's from a lot of problematic influencers. And I don't know if a lot of people recognize that or not. And I'm like, I find it real funny how this place is so popularized by people of color and it got a whole bunch of lines in here from people that don't like us like that. So, and that's what's not making sense. It's not. That's what's not making sense because you can't complain about people being problematic to us when you make yourself a part of the problem by buying into people that don't like us. And they're using this money that we're giving them to build entities and businesses and even systems that stacked up against us. And a lot of black people, like always, don't want to hear it because they're like, oh, Kim, she doing it with the hair, or they making money, And see, and that's the thing I don't like about black folks now. You can't never talk no sense to them unless it's about some money. And I'm like, I don't see why y'all defending these people's money so hard when it's y'all money that they using to be rich, and they're not even giving y'all money to make y'all rich. And that's just the thing. And I just feel like black people, for whatever reason, I feel like it's a little bit of the hip hop music over the years that's come out with this whole message of if it ain't about money, I don't want to talk. If it ain't about me, I don't want to talk. If it's not about stacking my coins or my chips, I don't got to talk to you and stuff. And just a whole bunch of crap with black people as to why we just thought that this is just so okay to let other people just use us like this. This rice actually tastes good too. The thing I like about this is it ain't greasy. And it tastes like just regular Chinese rice. Mm, shoot. But yeah, I just feel like when it comes to cultural appropriation, black people need to be held accountable for how we have allowed it. Because every other culture pretty much but us, they have that, don't come at us with that. You gotta step to us correct about how you move and how you talk. And we even saw that in the whole Nick Cannon situation that just happened. Not all of us, but yes, a lot of Hispanics need to stop being hypocrites with that and then complaining when Hispanics get done the same way. Exactly. It's the hypocrisy. But yeah, and even going along with that, the whole Nick Cannon situation that just happened where he got fired from his podcast for making anti-Semitic comments and stuff. Yeah, Viacom CBS just fired him for that. And my thing is, and this is how black people, and this is another thing black people need to learn how to do. We need to learn how to move when we're not working with our own people and when we're not working under our own people. Because that's why you kind of seen the downfall of the real with Amanda Seals and why she left, and now Tamara just left and whatnot because they said that, there's not enough black representation and whatnot. I feel like when it comes to blacks like Nick Cannon has done pretty good for himself to be somebody that started out as a comedian, then moving over to Nickelodeon with all that. Then he got his own show, then moved to MTV and then Wilding Out. And then he's gotten all these other deals and companies and stuff under that. I'm like, and I hate to put it like this, Nick Cannon, but it's like white people pretty much paved the way for you. So you can't get on no podcast that's still ran by white people and make anti-white comments. Now, I don't know if he made those or not because I was reading the comments on the Yahoo News article. A lot of people said he was making anti-white comments in his podcast other than anti-Semitic. And how can you talk about the people that pretty much write your checks all the time? Because I just feel like, and see, this is what messes black folks up, and that's why a lot of YouTubers. Now, see, when you're a YouTuber, you can pretty much say what you want to, unless you have that type of how can I say it? That unless you had that type of notoriety, unless you had that type of notoriety, where you have fame like people like Storm Monroe or Lovely T or Impressive where they can't say just anything, and even Funky Dineva where they can't say just anything on their channels because they're so known on YouTube and YouTube knows them so well. Now YouTube is starting to get a little sensitive about what people say and talk about, and kids being able to watch your stuff. They'll lose their channels and stuff for that. But I know people like me, because I say a lot of stuff on my YouTube page, I could probably get away with it a little bit because this is my channel. I'm not that well known yet on YouTube. And so, I could probably get away with a little bit more stuff about this. But I just feel like when black folks work for non-black people, you can't be making comments and statements about them and you work for them and expect for you not to get fired or nothing like that. That's just common sense to me. It is. It's just common sense. So what happened? What happened to Nick Cannon is that y'all know he had a podcast and he would do like a lot of celebrity interviews and stuff on his podcast, like other people with podcasts have done or do. And they said, now I don't know what comment was made that finally, cut the cord for him, but they said that it was known that he was making, anti-Semitic comments, and that's why they fired him. Now Nick Cannon has, fired back, and I'm gonna look on my phone to see what he said, so I can get the full story on his response. And what's worse is that Viacom CBS is the one who fired him. Now, Viacom CBS people, I wouldn't play with them because Viacom is a television cable company that was known for, overthrowing or bumping out Time Warner Cable. And Viacom, they own a lot of these channels that have a lot of black shows like VH1, MTV, and I think even TV1 and BET are under Viacom. Yeah, exactly. And so my thing is, if you done pissed off the people at the top, not even the ones that's over your podcast, but the people that's over the airing of your podcast and the channels that come on, you done really messed up now. And now Nick Cannon is saying, okay, first he issued an apology saying he apologized to the Jewish brothers and sisters for putting them in such a painful position, which was never my intention. But I know this whole situation hurt many people. Together we will make it right. Of course, they got to issue an apology so they can get back in, good with the people that fired them. Cannon adds that he tried to reach out to Viacom CBS chair Sherry Redstone to apologize, a claim which a Viacom CBS spokesperson called absolutely untrue. Now, we don't know if that's absolutely untrue or not. But if the head people done said it's untrue, then it's not true. They said that Cannon is also demanding full ownership of the Wild 'N Out brand he helped create. Based on trust and empty promises, my ownership was swindled away from me. For Viacom to be so deceptive is no surprise. They have been mistreating and robbing our community for years, underpaying talent on their biggest brands like Love and Hip Hop, all of BET programming, and of course Wild 'N Out. And I also did hear, and this is via Funky Dineva, that the reason why BET went down such a poop hole when it came to their TV shows and y'all know what happened with BET. BET was the ish back in the 80s and 90s, but then it hit a real bad downfall in like the late 2000s where it became almost like a pay-per-view channel because the only thing was on there was like old show reruns and preaching commercials and Miracle Water informationals. So yeah, but my thing is with Nick Cannon, I mean, anybody who knows that when it comes to these major TV production companies or these major TV channel production companies, they are owned by white people. And not only are they owned by white people, but I'll go ahead and say Jewish. Yes, Miracle Water. Everybody know about the Miracle Water commercials where the people be standing in front of the church and saying, I sprinkled this miracle water on my bills and they was magically paid. I sprinkled this miracle water on my forehead and I automatically got a house in 2 weeks with the keys to match. Y'all know that's how those commercials be. And And so, yeah, but anybody knows that a lot of these major TV production companies are ran by white people, and to be more specific, Jewish people. Now, I know a lot of people probably want to lump Jewish people in with white people, but in this case, it's best not to. Because, like I said, you have some racial communities where they don't want to be lumped in with everybody else, and they either want their tribe or their religion or their ethnic group recognition. Like the Persians, they don't like to be called Iranian. They like to be called Persian, even though they're from Iran. Like with the Igbo people in Nigeria, they rather be called Igbo instead of Nigerian or African. And it's the same way with Jewish people. Yeah, they're white, but their ancestry and their religion is founded in Judaism. So that's why there's a difference. But Nick Cannon had to know this. Nick Cannon, I think, has ownership in Nickelodeon, if I'm not mistaken. And so Nick Cannon, he has rubbed a lot of shoulders with these CEOs and these executive producers, as well as executive directors and writers, to know that most of the people you talk about on your podcast, they write your checks. They've been the ones to write out your TV premiere schedules. They've been the ones in the production rooms, all kinds of stuff. So I'm like, Nick Cannon, I don't know what got up in your spirit or in your bones to just make you want to say all this stuff like that. Right. And Nick Cannon, when he was talking about Jewish people, he made that point too about black people being the original Jews. Now, one thing I can say is that you do have black Jewish people and you do have black Israelites. And I've never met a black Jewish person, but I did meet a black Israelite not too long ago at the mall. And that was my first time ever meeting a black Israelite. I'd always heard of them, but I never met one. And so, yeah, I do see some truth to there being black Israelites and black Hebrews. Yeah, Chingy. Yeah, Chingy, he used to talk about a lot of religious stuff on his Instagram page, but he didn't like pull back from that. Was he nice? Oh yeah, he was nice. Yeah, he was nice. He actually tried to flirt with me and everything. He did. He even asked me if I had a boyfriend and all that kind of stuff. And I said no. And he said, well, are you looking at everything? I said, no, I'm not looking. And it was so funny that he had approached me like that right after I did a love camera spell. And that was the thing. And I'm like, I guess my spell didn't work then. but yeah, and yeah, he was nice and all that. So yeah, I do see some truth to there being black Hebrews and black Israelites. But no, this is the guy that was selling me the facial wash kit that he gave me a discount on. Mm-hmm. And I'm about to throw the other half of this egg roll away because y'all know when egg rolls get cold, they're not good anymore. And so yeah, so I can understand him saying that, but a lot of people said that he was calling white people savages and Jewish people the same thing. I'm like, you can't say stuff like that. Like you just can't because black people, and this goes back into what I said about Hispanic people. Black people have got to understand that when you are in white spaces or in non-black spaces, yeah, you black, but you just gonna have to be a worker. You can't be the top dog and the head boss and the head honcho running your mouth about anything that comes to your mind. You can't do that. You don't own the building. You don't own the name. You don't own the place. And since there's only one of you or one of us in the whole place, you can't be saying stuff like that. Because I've even in not predicaments. There have been times where in professional settings or even in volunteer settings where I was the only black. Hey, side, where I was the only black. And I knew not to say nothing about Black Lives Matter or about Breonna Taylor or George Floyd or anything that had something to do with race or ethnicity or about how we're being done wrong. Because you just don't do stuff like that because non-black people, and this is where I'm going to have to give them a pass to an extent. Non-black people sometimes get tired of getting beaten up about racism too. Because not all non-black people are mean, rude, racist, or whatever. A lot of them do have a genuine love or interest for black people or just people in general, no matter what color they are. So sometimes they get tired of hearing a lot of these racial tirades too. And in this instance, they do have the right to speak out against it and protect themselves. Because, see, black people, we've kind of gotten a big head with this racial stuff sometimes because we feel like since we black, that we get to have this chip on our shoulder about us being done wrong by non-black people because we were slaves. And that's where I do think that it's wrong. And I've heard people say that black people have the right to be racist. No, you don't. Because how can you say that you hate non-black people, but you complain about people hating black people? So that's where that doesn't make sense at all. Okay, so before I get to my other point, I'm gonna open up the fortune cookie to see what it says. I used to collect. I still do collect my fortune cookies, fortunes. So I'm gonna see what this one is. And I taste this to see how it tastes. Mm, China House is better. It is. China House is better. It has like a light lemon taste to it. But we got the lucky numbers on the back, and I won't call them out because I'll probably play them in the lottery one day. Now, here we go. Let's see what this says. Here we go. Low fat, whole wheat green tea. That's exactly what it says. It says, here we go. Low fat, whole wheat green tea. I know what this is saying, and this is pertaining to my diet because I was on Nutrisystem not that long ago, and I stopped because I got tired of feeling hungry all the time and not being able to eat what I want to, and I was really losing weight for all the wrong reasons. So I got back into the self love thing with food and everything. But I do know that I need to eat a lot healthier because I have been eating a little too much fast food lately. So yeah, this is what it's saying. It's saying, here we go. Listen to this. Low fat, which means less bad food, whole wheat green tea, which means more healthy food, more green tea. Because green tea is really good for you if you get the authentic kind. Because they have said that that fake kind of green tea sometimes has mercury or something in it. So yeah, whew, I understand what this is saying. But yeah, but going back to the whole Nick Cannon scenario, I'm like, you played yourself with this one. Because if you would have just, maybe kept those comments, well, I don't even know if it would have been safe for him to say it on Instagram because they probably would have got him with a pink slip as soon as he walked in the door to do the podcast the next day, or they would have said, Nick Cannon, we need for you to come to the back office. We got something to talk about with you and everything. And they probably would have let him go from that. So I don't think Nick Cannon probably would have been safe with that anywhere. And I just wish that with black people, we would learn how to have some type of, how do you tell the difference between real and fake green tea? Well, I take that back. Don't quote me on that because I think they have said that the real green tea has a little bit of mercury in it or whatnot. But y'all know a lot of times when it comes to these herbal teas, depending on where you get them and who makes them, it may have a little bit of a real thing and a whole lot of something else mixed in. And sometimes you may have to go to the actual Asian stores or African stores just to get the real 100% antioxidant green tea instead of these other places. Wait, oh, this is the wrong end. But but yeah, I just feel like with Nick Cannon, he just shouldn't have really said that. And I wish that black people would learn how to have some type of secrecy about us. Because here's the thing, the main reason why a lot of us, I'm about to say Hispanics, the reason why a lot of non-black people are able to do the dirt that they do and not get caught in it is because they know how to keep that stuff behind closed doors or within the community so that we could deal with it and sit with it, and well, not we, but so that they can deal with it and sit with it and not let it spill out in the open for others to see and judge. Where black people, we do way too much stuff out in the open. And this whole I don't give a F attitude and so what is my business, ain't nobody perfect, blah blah blah. That may be true, yeah, it is your business, yeah, you can do whatever you want to, but in other cultures, they have a sense of integrity that they like to keep. They have a sense of social responsibility that they like to keep. And in their communities, they know that when you run around looking any kind of way, when you run around acting in a kind of way, when you run around talking in a kind of way, and getting caught in places you ain't supposed to be in, your mama can hear about it, your grandma can hear about it, your cousins can hear about it, or the pastor can hear about it. And 9 times out of 10, not only will you get a bad look, but your family will get a bad look as well. And that's really something that a lot of black people have lost because our culture used to be like that, where we did keep a lot of things in house. But now we don't, and that's why a lot of people disrespect us like that. And when it comes to the Hispanic community and even the white community and the Asian community, yeah, they do that dirt and stuff like that. But we don't know a whole lot about them though, unless we're invited in, we're able to see in, or we just hear about it. But yeah, I just feel like that's what black people have gotten to learn how to do because the rise of social media. Yeah, yeah, and it's that too. And not only is it that, but world star hip hop. Now, I think it did a really poor job with us too, and how we look with the whole Star Keisha thing, of the girl getting slapped across the face in the backyard by her friend over a boy, and then it was Star Keisha. Then it was the twerk team, and that's how that twerking and stuff got started. Then it was school fights. Then it was school fights that was being put on World Star Hip Hop. It was stripping. It was soft porn. I mean, it was just a lot of like hood stuff that was put on World Star Hip Hop. But it's sad to say that when that hood stuff gets out to the public, and if it's black hood people, because everybody got their own hood people, but it's blacks we're known for being the ultimate hood and ghetto people. It makes us look bad. And then everybody thinks that we're like that because whether we still want to believe it or not, a lot of non-black people do not get a glimpse of us unless it's on social media. Unless they grow up in areas where it's a whole bunch of blacks and go to school with a whole bunch of blacks and things of that nature. That's the only time they will know close up that we're really not like that. But for the most part, other races don't really get to know how we are other than social media and TV. So whatever we show, excuse me, so whatever we show on social media or on television, that's people's first glance at black people. And so that's why I don't know why my legs and stuff are cramping like this so bad. But that's why a lot of us are now trying to fight off this stigma and this bad image of us. And I hate to say it, but social media has played a part in it. And by black people being so desperate to get attention and fame for stupid stuff, that's playing a part in it too. So that's my thing about it. Because if people, black people especially, would just watch our ways and how we act and how we treat people and stuff, we wouldn't get bullied so bad. And plus, I've even had non-black people ask me questions about why blacks do the things that we do, and I would take it as an educational moment and told them right from wrong about why black people act a certain way sometimes, why we have attitudes certain times, why our women act a certain way. Yeah, I'll tell them, and that's not spilling the beans or the secrets of the black community, but that's just to better get an understanding. And I feel like that's what a lot of black people need to do, because black people, we can't sit up here and run to the Hispanics with open arms or run to the white people with open arms and Asians and then wonder why we don't get the same love and respect as we're giving them. And that's because we're not loving ourselves and running up to each other. Try my best not to stab myself in the eye with a chopstick. So before I end this video, does anybody have any questions that they want to ask or comments they want to make? Oh, celebrity readings. I'm going to start. I'm going to start doing those probably next week, because I am going to be doing a how to read tarot class this Friday on Zoom. Oh yeah, that was one thing I forgot to mention during this, is that I'll be doing a tarot reading class on how to read tarot cards and how to understand them on Zoom this Friday. So I've already announced it on Facebook, and a lot of people there know, and they said they're coming. And then today I'm supposed to drop the link as well as the passcode for it. And I'm going to do a separate YouTube video for it as well. But with celebrity readings, I'll start doing those next week. And I've even thought about doing some free reading lives on this channel, because I feel like I love doing tarot reading. So that's why I want to do it. But I really feel like that would be a way for me to like build my clientele for my tarot reading business. I got rice in my teeth. So yeah, that's when I start doing readings. But what celebrities do y'all want me to cover? What's your Facebook name? I'll put it in here. And so I'm gonna stop eating this because I don't have enough food. Okay, good. So yeah, I'm gonna be dropping the link to my Zoom class on my tarot reading. I'm gonna put my Facebook name. So yeah, that's my Facebook name, and then I'm gonna do a separate video. What's today? I think today is what, Wednesday? Yeah, it is Wednesday. I'm gonna do a separate video tonight around 8 o'clock. Email it to me. Okay, I'll do it. And so what I'll do is I'll do another video tonight at 8 o'clock announcing the tarot reading class this Friday on Zoom. And then in the description box, I'll go ahead and put the link as well as the password to the Zoom conference, because it's going to be this Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And so, yeah, I'll be doing that. Excuse me, but I will be doing celebrity readings next week. So I hope you all like this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment sections. And have a good day.